Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 5 Drinks or Midnight. Another show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks, we try to wrap up before midnight. Today we got a good one. We're gonna go see Phil Morgan from Arcane Distillery. But before we do, like and subscribe. Let's get started. So much for joining us. 5 Drinks or Midnight, 5 drinks, 5 questions. Thank you for having us at Arcane headquarters.
You're welcome.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing awesome.
Awesome.
Nice, wonderful fall day.
It's beautiful, right?
I mean, it's misty. It's like a, oh God. It's like the set of Blade Runner.
There you go.
It's been that way for 5 days.
5 days, and it's still going to continue on. So they were like, oh, it's going to be nice. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, it's coming back around and it's going to be shitty again. So yeah.
But I'll take it.
I will. I'm a lover of the rain. So I think.
My dog's not, but I.
Yeah, same. She won't go. We haven't done a solid walk in fucking days now. But I guess the first question is, what are we drinking first?
We're drinking some KCBC Superhero Sidekick that was an IPA that we turned into our KCBC Superhero Among Us.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's a hopped whiskey made from a beautiful IPA beer.
Okay. It just smells so fucking good.
It's just a fun nose.
Yeah.
Like all the cocktails you can make, you can drink this even straight, just like we're doing now.
Yeah.
But nice and neat. But as a cocktail, so much fun stuff you can do with this.
It's got such a wonderful, wonderful nose.
Yep. Maybe you just put a little bit right here.
Look. Eau de toilette?
Yep. Eau de bière. Eau de whiskey. Yeah.
Oh, it's glorious. It is so good.
Little piece of whiskey. If I do say so myself.
Yeah, it's damn good. Like, this is just the flavor and everything. It's just shockingly good. Like, people, I think, I know you guys have like a motto that you don't know until you try it. And it honestly does hold up to that kind of motto of like.
Once people if you're into regular whiskey and you try this, you don't get it. But once you talk about the vacuum distilled and how this still is it's like a sous vide cooking machine, but for whiskey it's a flavor and aroma collecting machine. And it's not a typical heritage style whiskey. It's just not. It's something new. We're rethinking the way we're making whiskey. And that's what makes this KCBC so much fun and different.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess then let's just jump right into it. I mean, question one.
Yeah.
How'd you get started in the whiskey business?
Wow. It was my birthday in 2011, and I was a designer, and my previous work life, I was a designer and builder of bars and restaurants, and I'd been building for almost 10 years or over 10 years at that point for other people, much longer than 10 years for other people, and also myself. For my own bars and restaurants, and a buddy of mine was like, so you want to stop doing this design and construction thing? He says, yeah, I think I want to make something of value that people can take home with themselves. I'm making these places of value for other people, but I want to make something that I can hand to people and that they can share with other people. Very much what we're doing with the hospitality, building bars and restaurants, but this is something people can take home with them. And I said, well, I think I want to do craft beer. And he's like, no, man, you got to do bourbon. And a huge light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, oh shit, that's exactly what I need to do. So I went down a rabbit hole and read and devoured everything about home distilling, craft distilling period, to then come up with, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open my own craft distillery. Got involved with, went to my first ADI may have been in 2011, took classes with Cornell and Christian Karl, which is a German still manufacturer, and also in Chicago with Cote Distilling, They make stills in Germany, but run by a guy in Chicago, and then started building distilleries for other people. So I built Kings County all 4 times, all their different expansions in their tasting room. Built out 11 wells in St. Paul, Minnesota, and to learn more and more about the physical process of putting them together. And now that's when I said I'm going to put together a business plan and start my own distillery. And I didn't do that, but I have joined the team of Arcane to make their whiskey.
Awesome.
So I started over a year ago. This product came out. Finished doing this in the end of May. Finished bottling this in the end of May, and have the other products that came out earlier in the year. So that's sort of the short version of how I got to where we are.
I was going to say, I mean, again, from our social stalking, I mean, research that we've done on you, but you started way back, bartending back in France too. You've been.
I started bartending. My first job in the hospitality industry was again another. My other retired bartender, retired restaurant manager. I'm a retired car salesman from before that. Yep. I was a retired car mechanic before that. And I was in the automobile industry and wanted to get out and do something different. And I went to Europe for a 3-week vacation. I think I need to go to either France or Germany to learn a foreign language because I don't speak foreign language. So I got involved with the study abroad program in 1988 and moved to France and did 6 months of school there, learning French. That wasn't enough. I only saved up enough money for 6 months studying abroad, and then got a job in a restaurant and met my business partners, Oliver Jenkins and John Coyle, who I helped them open their first bar in. I'm going to date myself in 1991. Which was Stolly Stone Bar, which is an amazing bar. It's one of the best bars in the world. I love it. And I helped them build that, and then I helped them manage it, and then I moved on and opened up my own place in 1994 in Paris, a place called the Lizard Lounge. And both of those places are still open. And in 1998, we opened up another place called the Bottle Shop, which it is also still open. And that's the same year I met my wife, who's American, who walked into the Lizard Lounge and said, I need 2 shots of vodka and 2 bottles of Red Stripe. And I said, I need to meet this woman because French women don't do that.
Exactly. Well, again, Paris, the city of love. So
indeed. And so we ended up hanging out that weekend and then started dating long distance for 2.5 years. And then I moved back to the States.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a fucking killer origin story.
Thanks,
I mean, you are a man of many hats, and I think it's just an awesome. I'm glad we're telling stories today. So, I think that's amazing. So, well, that's question. Yeah. Cheers, and that's question 1. So,
thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Question 2, drink 2. What are we drinking?
2-2.
And 2 and 2. Be right back.
We're drinking some Alpha.
Excellent.
So this is our first IPA whiskey. It's going to be one of our core whiskeys. It is our own grain bill, as they say in the brewing world, our own mash bill. So it was an IPA. It had hops in it, and three different types of hops. And with that, then we distilled it. It was a delicious beer. And at 2,000 gallons at a time, we can fill up the still with that beer, and we taste it, make sure that it's beautiful. Because again, this vacuum distillation system is a flavor and aroma collecting machine. So it's going to collect all the good and bad. And because it was such a beautiful beer, we've got a beautiful whiskey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. So good on the nose again.
It's got that just lovely. It's more delicate on the hops than the KCBC, but it definitely has the hops, and it's a little bit more of it's leaning more towards a classic whiskey than the KCBC. But I just love the notes. It's just like the fruit and citrus, and
the citrus is just so much of it. It's just so nice.
There are no botanicals in here, but the botanical notes that the hops give to this is so much fun. Here's the number 2.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right. So question two. You guys are flipping the whiskey world on its head, not only by the process, but also sustainability and the amount of time that it takes to actually make this. Not looking for industry secrets or top secret stuff, but can you tell us a little bit more of what makes Arcane so different? And
on the production side,
yeah.
We use very little energy to be able to run the still. A normal still, you need to boil things at a very high temperature. Ethanol starts to evaporate at 168 to 172, somewhere in there. It depends on which parts of the compounds you're looking at, and that are in there. With us, and then when you're finishing a normal typical run, you are it's going up to 212. You're going to boil off all of the alcohol if you can. Well, with us, we don't. It starts to the ethanol under a hard vacuum that we pull on our machine. We pull out all of the air, which changes the pressure, just like the top of Everest. Water boils at a much lower temperature than it does in Brooklyn at sea level.
Sure.
We're not at sea level exactly, but
Pretty
damn
close,
near.
yeah.
Damn near. So normally water would boil at 212 here, but under a hard vacuum, much harder than what is at the top of Everest, but we pull out 96% of the air. That makes a really hard vacuum and allowing everything that's in the pot to evaporate at a much, much lower temperature. So we use a heat pump to do that, sort of like those split things you have in your home. And they take the heat. We have a water jacket around the outside of the still that heats it up a little bit, or holds it at the right temperature. And so we're applying heat with the heat pump there. And then the byproduct of that heat on a heat pump is cold. And we add that to the glycol chiller that is then cooling the rest of the still. Because as you turn a liquid into vapor, you change its state. You now need to change its state again back after it's come out of the still and hits the condenser. You're changing its state back into a liquid. And so that cold is also being used. So 100% of that heat pump energy is going into the still, which is sort of amazing. Not sort of, it is amazing.
Yeah.
So we do that at really low temperature. We have a finish process that we use pressure, a little bit of heat, and some staves, and we put some of our distillate into this vessel, into this reactor, put it in there for 72 hours is around how long. We pull that out, we blend it back in with our new make, the hearts part of the whiskey.
Yes, science!
And that's our whiskey.
Okay.
So we're able to, from brewing to putting it into a bottle is about 3 weeks.
Okay. That's awesome.
So all of the color is coming from wood, but we're not, this is not it's just a finishing process that we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. And
That's
these beautiful fooders are where we're storing it as well. So it's sort of a modified Solera system, sort of, where we put, in this one here, we're putting all of our IPAs or our hopped spirit. And in this one here, we're putting in our non-hop spirits.
Okay.
And so they sit in there, and then we put in the new make, and we pull out a blend of all of those that have been put in there to then do a bottling run.
Okay.
So that's where it's getting into a wood cask. It's a very large cask. It's a fooder, but that's our process.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just watching that run, and when you guys did that, when we were here for I think the release of this one, right? Yeah. And you did the whole breakdown. It's freaking amazing.
It's really amazing. It's harder to maybe a different podcast, but you can have distillate come off of this still simultaneously in 4 different places. So a normal still, it comes off at one place that you can then put it into a heads tank or a tails tank or a feints tank or into your 4 shots that you're going to dump somewhere or your hearts, but that's still off of one place. This one has 4 different places that it can simultaneously coming off. So as you're collecting your hearts, you have 3 other places that you can collect distillate at the same time, simultaneously. Sort of magic.
Yeah, no, again, I know Brendan from Taconic and stuff. When he was here, like he was totally geeking out. So it's got to be pretty freaking impressive.
He was able to hang out with us when we were. I was doing the Imperial run a couple of months back, and he was here and was really having an absolute blast. Like, this is really cool.
It's like giving a 16-year-old the keys to like some sort of like.
He's a chemical engineer, so
race
he's like,
car.
He's having a really good time.
Yeah,
he's really enjoying it.
Awesome. Well, that's question 2.
Thank you.
Cheers. Question 3, drink 3.
Number 3.
What are we drinking?
We are drinking Imperial.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah. So again, we started with beer, and like the previous whiskeys, we're having at the moment having KCBC's brewing all of our beer for us. We'll soon be able to see off that direction that we've got our brewing system here. We just haven't finished setting it up yet. But they brewed us an Imperial Stout to our specifications, our grain bill, mash bill. And we then took that and ran it through Distill in July. And we bottled it 2 weeks ago, finished the finishing process and bottled it about 2 weeks ago, and have that in market as of right now.
Okay.
So you can get that as of the first week of October, which is super cool.
That's awesome.
So, it's a Imperial Stout, so you've got these really dark malts, heavy roasted malts that they used, and you get that. I'm going to let you try that now. What do you think?
It's amazing.
Yeah, I get that chocolate cocoa, roasted coffee. God, it's just so much fun.
Yeah. And it's not like it's like a cacao almost. Like it
is a cacao.
Yeah. It's not a like milk chocolate or anything.
No. It's like a dark Belgian chocolate.
Yeah. Like it's All right.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
That's so good. Like this is just.
That's really fun. Again, that the oak is all part of our finishing process. It's just finished. That's it.
It's just amazing. Like this stuff. The cocoa on it. It's so beautiful. It honestly, like.
It's amazing how those dark malts, what they do to that dark roasted malt gets you this cocoa.
Yep.
There's no cocoa in this.
But
through the process of kilning the malts, the way they do, creates this wonderful flavor.
But all right, so question 3. It's usually our talk shit question, but we're gonna put a different spin of positivity on it.
Okay.
So
can you talk shit positively? Is that
I mean, positive. Maybe isn't it just constructive criticism then?
Yeah.
But we're not even gonna go that way.
Okay.
We're gonna go a little different way. Where do you see yourself and Arcane in 10 years?
I see myself being 10 years older. I see myself and Arcane being on the well and back bars of pretty much every bar in America, in Europe, in Western Europe.
World domination.
World domination. That's what I see.
Okay.
And I see myself really happy. That's been my goal in the last 10 years is to create a brand that has longevity and can be appreciated by everyone. Everyone likes whiskey. Whiskey's not alcohol's not for everyone.
Right.
And there's some people that don't drink, and that's it's okay, and that's good. It's not for everyone, but for people that it is for, enjoy this.
Yep.
It's much more sustainable. It's a beautiful product. We're rethinking the way that people are making whiskey.
Yep.
And I think that sustainability and that lack of carbon footprint that we have is it's got a lot of legs.
I agree. I mean, I'm thinking like TED Talks on about sustainability and reducing carbon footprint and
rethinking whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Like how the process is so different than everyone else's, and there is nothing wrong with that process. the heritage style of distilling where you heat a pot and you have a condenser and it makes beautiful spirit. There's so many craft whiskeys out there, so many whiskeys period out there, or spirits out there that are just fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. Our approach is drastically different from that, trying to make something different and also beautiful. And hope there's more people that are trying to, rethink how stuff is made. Maybe not just in the spirits world, but in different areas.
Yeah.
So
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
or cooking sauces, or like any sous vide kind of cooking, to be able to do it on a larger scale to save energy.
Yeah.
That's a win in my book.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I hope that happens. So
yeah, here's that.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. In 10 years, hopefully I'll be on maybe probably not living 12 months out of the year in an urban environment. I'd like to either be in the south of France, Paris, or maybe upstate somewhere. Not to say that I can't also be doing this, because the idea is to be doing this.
I mean, I was expecting more of maybe retired, as Arcane is all over the world, and I'm just riding my bike everywhere.
That too. I mean, I'd love to be able to ride my bike everywhere, always, because I'm a huge fan of cycling, and that's a big part of my my raison d'être. I just love cycling. It's also a great way of sustainable way of getting from one place to another. But I have a work problem. That is, I would have a problem not being busy. Yeah. So I love working. So I don't foresee that I will stop working in the near future, because I need to be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
awesome.
Cheers. That's question 3.
Awesome.
Super easy.
Yep.
And again, amazing. So
thank you.
Question 4. Drink 4.
Drink 4.
Don't even know what question we're on anymore. All right, so what are we drinking?
We're drinking an Arcane Alpha Boulevardier.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yep.
Oh, that's good.
That's really nice.
So good in cocktails, too. Like, that is, I mean, that's the one thing, like, it just fits nicely in almost anything that you put it with. So
it does. Because of the hops, if you have a gin recipe cocktail, you can totally use this. And because it is a whiskey, in a whiskey cocktail, you can also use it.
Yeah.
So it's got this fun balance between those two worlds. In a highball, it works really well. In a ginger, it's with ginger beer, it's delicious. I really, really love the Alpha in cocktails.
Yeah.
It is so fun.
It is so good. Like, you can't go wrong. Like,
No.
Honestly, it's amazing. All right, so question 4 then.
4.
From car salesman to bartender, bar owner, restaurateur, basically Mohammed on the mountain kind of guy. If someone came to you and wanted advice of getting into the spirits world, what would you tell them?
Getting into the spirits world?
Yeah. They wanted to be a young Phil.
Young Phil?
Like, what would you?
I'm still young.
I know, but like,
yeah.
I'm just a new Phil.
I would probably suggest that they go and visit and do, if they can, internships at different craft distilleries. Listen to owners, understand the financial model of what it is to be able to start a distillery, and I want to say some of the sacrifices that you need to make. We're not in the whiskey making business. We are, but we're not.
Right.
It's so sexy, the whiskey making part. What we're doing over here is really fun, and we can talk about it all day long. And the passion that drives that is like, that's amazing. But we're really in the whiskey selling business, because I can't get paid if I don't sell a lot of this. So understanding that economics, it is and think about that when you're starting your business. Starting with something really, really small, it's very, very difficult to sell enough of them, enough of your widgets to make money. So like the restaurant industry, it's a pennies game. You need to think about the cost of all these different things to be able to get to a point where you can actually make money to pay back your investors, to supply the money for your lifestyle, to grow in many different ways, to open up another one. And it's similar in that way. If you make 1,000 cases a year, or 1,000 bottles a year, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to make a living.
Yep.
It's all it's a scales game, just like the restaurant business, but on a different scale. So I think go work for a bunch of distilleries, talk to a bunch of other people that are in the industry, that have started their own craft distilleries, that have had success. And that's, I thought I was going to open my own distillery in 2016 or 2015. I'm sad that I didn't. I had an amazing team put together, but I'm very happy because I've learned so much from them to be able to do what I'm doing in a much more thoughtful way.
Awesome.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. And I mean, I think it's funny because like Lisa Whitaker always talks about this meme that goes around about like distillers and things. It's like what my friends think I do, and they like show her like it's like all dressed up and out at parties always drinking. What my parents think I do, and it's like you're basically a drunk falling down, and it's like what I actually do, and it's like you're scrubbing the inside of the still at 11 o'clock at night. Like it's not like, for me, it looks like a very glorious, fun job. For you, it's like, no, it's hard work, and it takes a lot of time, and you're not going to be famous or like whatever, and like living off an island collecting all that whiskey money.
You have to be able to push the broom around, the mop around.
Yeah.
Brian Thompson, the CEO of Arcane, the founder of Arcane, is he says, "Well, what do you do?" He says, "I'm the janitor."
Yeah.
Because you need to, when you start things up, you need to be able to do all the things.
Yep.
You need to, and my restaurant in Paris, I've got stories of me mopping up vomit because somebody had too much to drink.
Yep.
And guess what? You're the owner, and the other staff are, about to vomit because they have never cleaned it up before. Guess what? You need to step up. You need to clean it up.
Yep. You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
Many, many hats. So
Indeed.
But I think I think knowledge is key, and you go intern, find out what as many people are doing that's some damn good advice. So
they look at find other people that have had success, that are in, if you want to make gin or vodka or Amaro or whiskey or apple brandy or grape brandy, whatever your passion, wherever you lie, like look at that and follow that. My initial passion was the agricultural act of making whiskey. That's what gets me really excited. Taking these the small grains, the corn, the barley, the rye, the wheat, and taking those grains that farmers work really hard at making something beautiful. Take that agricultural product and turning it into something of value gets me really excited. That's where I started. After having that conversation with my friend on my birthday in 2011, like that was like the thing, looking at it is actually an agricultural act. You are turning something of people perceive of like, it's just rye, it's just corn. Turning it into something of value. So you've got this beautiful bottle you can take home and you can share with people.
Yep.
And now that has a perceived value more than a handful of corn.
Exactly.
Bit of a shame, but it is what it is.
It is, yeah. Everybody loves a good distilled corn versus
a distilled barley or distilled rye or apples.
Yeah. Pouring a glass of this is better than a big bowl of just corn. So
what's some popcorn? Not popcorn, but some corn-based breakfast cereal.
Yeah. Cornflakes or something. Yeah.
Cornflakes.
Yeah. All right.
Which you could probably distill too. right.
Question 5, drink 5.
Five.
Last drink of the night, not even close to midnight.
Not even close.
What are we drinking?
We are going to drink a Boulevardier with an Imperial float. Arcane Imperial float. You're going to have to be really careful with this one because it's really, really good.
Okay. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Just a good drink.
Yeah.
Nice little float on that.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. So that is a Boulevardier made with our Alpha, and then we've floated the Imperial on the top.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Drink number 5. That's a nice complex.
That is
cocoa,
good.
chocolate.
Oh, yeah. That is so nice.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that is, you weren't fucking lying. That is actually, that's really fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, that works.
Oh, that is really fucking good.
That's really, really good. Yeah.
Oh. All right, question 5.
5.
Comes down to the Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. Don't have to answer. The coin will always just give us the question.
Yep.
But question 5.
Question 5.
Is it true that you guys started Arcane because you believe that whiskey or beer should have always been whiskey all the time?
I do believe that whiskey is a grown-up beer. It's worked its way. It's had time to sit and think about what it's really supposed to be. And though ours doesn't sit that long, but yes, the answer I think that yes.
All right,
but we're gonna use
see
a coin.
what the coin says.
We've got the fuck yes and the fuck no, and we're gonna find out which fuck it is. Which one is it, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm gonna say fuck yeah.
It is fuck yeah. Woo! I agree.
Well, there we go, Phil. That's 5 questions answered, 5 drinks down. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Like this has been a pleasure.
Tim, it's an absolute pleasure. Whenever we have a chance to talk about whatever, it's always a blast.
Yeah.
And I never end up sober, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
I know, and I love our meetings and everything. So again, thank you, sir.
Thank you
to your time, and
thank you.
Can't wait to drink again. So
thank you to you and the fantastic podcast you're working on.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.